I think we're live. I do. Hello. Hello. So hopefully I've fixed the audio. I have more changes coming in, so that's good. But yeah, I don't have very long. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, but I took a nap, so I am not ready for bed. So let's just do this, huh? Let's make sure that looks okay. Yes. Nice. Okay. Fuck it. What do we want to play? I'll have the PlayStation controller plugged in, so let's go with PlayStation, huh? I still need to do the rest of my ISO dumps. But what you gonna do? Oh, man. What do I want to play? You know what I want to play? If I have it. Well, okay. I put it on disc, but I don't think I've actually put it on a system. Let me see. Yeah, probably not. It's okay. You know what? Let's go with Motor Racer. I love this game. I had this on PC back in the day. Just to show you like how powerful marketing is. I desperately wanted this and a PlayStation because in my kid mind, the PlayStation was this magical console that was super powerful that everybody wanted. And if everybody wanted it, it must be super powerful and super awesome. Meanwhile, my PC, my compact Presario, rendered the thing like 1,000 times better. But you don't know that. I still remember trying to get this thing to work on a PC. Well, I should addendum that. I remember my father having to help me get this to work. That was like my first experience with drivers and Windows bullshit. Wasn't fun. Basically, every single time you'd get a new game, you'd have to do all sorts of shenanigans to get the game to work on Windows 95, 98. And then you would inevitably get that game to work, which would be great. And it would be like half your Saturday and a lot of cursing on behalf of your father. And then you would realize that like now some other game didn't work and you would just stop playing that game because it didn't work and you didn't want to like ask for any more help from your dad. Yeah. And yes, I have the Japanese version of this. I legitimately have the Japanese version of this game. Don't ask. Here's my bit. With how like game prices have gotten, what the hell is the point in getting domestic copies if you don't have like a language issue, right? I can import things from Zen Market through Yahoo Auctions like infinitely cheaper. Way, way, way cheaper. And cheap is what's right for me. Now, granted, I could burn these discs, but I mean, there's not really much difference in these games. So I don't know if Tuna and the gang are going to be up quite yet. I saw a notification on Discord before where Tuna posted something, but he's probably getting ready for work. So maybe you'll just catch this later. Or maybe you won't catch it at all. And that's okay. I'm ultimately just sitting here talking to myself, so who really cares? Oh my god. 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 There we go. I gotta say, so all things considered, man, I'm getting beat up. Um, I'm playing through the capture card. There's really hardly any discernible lag. Maybe just like, I don't know, like an eighth of a second tops. Even then, it's very quick. Maybe not perfect, but I am way too lazy to switch to my other input right now to play this legitimately on the Polymega. Like, seriously, I'll be honest with you. I don't know the black magic wizardry that they're using, but it plays lovely even through the capture card. And I'm usually very sensitive when it comes to those, you know, sort of things, like those input lags. Shit, I remember back in the day when I was in college, I had an Elgato capture device. And this is back in the day when you had like RCA cables, and I think I had S-Video coming out of it. And there was no pass-through. And dude, the fucking lag was unbearable. I want to say it was at least like half a second to a second. I mean, it was, you couldn't do anything with it. And I remember back then, I mean, just the idea of capturing my footage, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this, right? But with no pass-through, I mean, it was really good if, like, you wanted to record, like, VHS tapes or whatever and have them on your computer. Oh, man, I just fucked that up. Oh, my God. That's what happens when I talk. This is also what happens when I have a harder difficulty. Anyway, so even back in, like, 2004, 2003, I want to say is when I had it. Probably 2004. Well, then we'll redo it. I don't want to view the replay. I don't want to continue the race. Yeah. But yeah, so even back then, like, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to do this. But technology just wasn't there. And without a pass-through, you know, what was I supposed to do? So I remember I I had a channel way back then. And I would record some footage, but what did I just do? I hate this, man. It has the buttons flipped. I'm not using it. I don't even know what the fuck I selected. Oh my god. Hold on. I'll go back. I'll go back. Everything's fine. O is except X is back. Okay, just gotta remember that. Anyway, so yeah, it just kind of sucked because, like, I think even everybody back then knew that this era would come, but we just didn't have the ability to capture anything like this. But yeah, I had a PowerBook G4 and an iMac. So very long time ago. That was back when laptops had built-in DVD drives and were almost just as thick as they are now with removable batteries. Kind of makes you pine for those days, huh? Anyway, been quite happy with this device though so far, honestly. It's been very painless. I have an Elgato cam coming in. I don't think I'm going to have it for my face. I mean, unless everybody wants to see me stare blankly at my screen. I was thinking about more just, I don't know. Haven't really thought about it yet. Maybe point it at the Polymega or something. I don't fucking have any clue. Or show my controller. Don't know. You tell me. Maybe I'll show myself. I don't know. Or maybe I'll show the desk. I really love this era of EA. You had like this and Need for Speed 2, especially, were probably my favorites. But this is back when like Electronic Arts meant something. It actually meant art. Like you could tell that the people working on these games from that era actually had some modicum of pride of the stuff that they were working on. This isn't EA, mind you. I don't know why I'm bringing it. I'm thinking of Need for Speed 2, but like this era of these type of racing games, especially from EA, were very similar to this. And I don't know, man. It's really sad to see like what they've become. Now we have like these squirted out games like Battlefield, which are already like tanking. And they can't understand why games like Arc Raiders have taken off so much, and it's because, you know, those people actually respect their audience. And they're giving them something unique and polished. Like, say whatever you will, but games like this or Need for Speed 2, like, there was really not a lot of games out there that was, like, perfectly like them. I think that's the reason why we all go back and play these old games, right? Is because at the end of the day, they never really did it better. Like, find me an arcadey motorcycle racing game that's as good as this game. That was made in like the last 10 years. I'll wait. No. I don't know, man. And it's a sad, I don't know. Everything has to be super safe because budgets are hundreds of millions of dollars and there's thousands of devs who work on each game. And then you can't understand when something like Clair Obscur Expedition 33 does really well financially. And it's like, well, they had like 30 some odd people working on it with a fraction of the budget. And they had a good idea that wasn't safe. That wasn't the same as everybody else's idea. Gee, I wonder why it'll succeed. Or games like that, or like I said, Arc Raiders, obviously more developers than Clair Obscur, but still not nearly as much as a Call of Duty or Black Ops, and way different. And then you have games like Schedule 1, like a lot of games that were made by one dude, or just a couple people. Silk Song, for example, is another one, yeah. I think those are the games that... Those are the type of games that were really successes in 2025. And you'd think that developers would start learning. You know what I would do if I was like an EA or an Activision? Keep doing your shit. I understand you being too afraid to, get rid of your Call of Duties or whatever, although I would definitely change how I went about them. But I would start opening, like back in the day, those type of companies would have little sister studios. And it would be typically like AA studios or something like that, right? Smaller projects, smaller budgets. Maybe licensed material, that sort of thing, right? I would do something akin to that. I think that that would be better. And then give them more creative freedom. That way people can't say that you're like a soulless evil corporation that doesn't listen to gamers and doesn't do anything fun or unique. And then if the thing fails, it's not a big deal because the budget wasn't huge and you can probably make your money back relatively quickly. But it's like we have games coming out like, what is that Overwatch clone that's called High Guard. I guarantee you they spent probably like at least $600 million on that game. I'm sure tons of devs worked on it as well. It's going to be free to play. Everyone hates it because it looks like fucking Concord's slightly more attractive sister with the same generic players and gameplay that we're all fucking tired of it at this point. They're not going to make any money because it's free to play. If they don't have an audience, how are they going to make money? And even if you did play the game and you liked it and you spent some money on DLC, how many skins and stuff are you really going to buy if you think the developer is going to go under? Do you know what I mean? Probably not that much. I don't know. It's weird to me. All that is weird to me. There's another game that's coming out that's in that same sort of pickle. Oh, and then you have Marathon, who's like desperately... I don't know what they think they're going to be doing here. They're like desperately trying to figure out a way to bamboozle people into trying their shit. But that's another one that's going to be free to play as well. Actually, no, it's not free to play. I'm sorry. That's going to be like a premium price is what they've said. Whatever that means. So they actually... I think they'll make some of their money back. For sure. But, I mean, after stealing art from that artist... I don't know if you guys heard. So, she got paid out like early December, which is good because they, fucking stole her artwork. There was a graphic designer and she made like futuristic, Wipeout-esque, sort of graphic design, right? Very postmodern graphic design, typography-based, symbol, icon-based stuff, and they literally just up and ripped it. I don't mean like, oh, they were inspired by it or they copied some elements. I'm talking about like little Easter eggs that she put in her art were on the textures in the game. Well, they scrubbed all that out. They finally paid her. The art director got fired, and oh man, the art director got fired, and they just put out another trailer after like a month and a half or 2 months maybe of silence. And they replaced all the textures, but now it just looks like super fucking generic. I don't know how to describe it. It still looks like the same game. It's still ugly as sin, but like, I don't know. her artwork clearly brought an element. Like they stole it for a reason, man. What I don't understand is, and this is kind of what I thought would happen by them paying her. I kind of figured they would pay her so they could use the art, and then everything would be relatively above water. But I guess they just paid her for attempting to use it and then got rid of it. But the problem is that now it just looks super generic. It looks like a lot of other shooters at this point. And then they did the whole like, oh, well, we got to make it look like it's our own thing. So we're going to do like what a lot of fucking modern developers do and just like lean on like, oh, it's evil and there's like red lighting everywhere and pink lighting because it's cyberpunky. And I don't know. It reminds me of like, it just feels lazy. Does that make any sense? It feels like they're trying to change the vibe of the game last minute, and it feels super tacked on, which it is, which makes sense. So, I mean, that's coming out in what, like a couple months, 2, 3 months? That's not going to do well. I noticed that after the sale, Arc Raiders um, recouped their player base. So that's phenomenal. They've actually not really lost anybody now. The only thing about Arc Raiders I have to say I don't like really don't like, is the art direction on the players themselves. Like, I don't know, it's that whole like Concordy sort of look where not as bad. Like I'm not talking about like ugly people per se, but okay. Talking about just like the, I don't know, like the saggy pants that look like someone took like a diarrhea dump in them. And just like, I don't know. I want to give them money, and I don't want to buy like 99% of the crap that they have in the store. But really good game. I do wish, personally, as a PvE fan for that type of game, that they had kept it PvE. It was supposed to be PvE from the start. And then last second, they felt, the developers felt it was too boring. And then they tried out PvP, and they liked it because they liked trolling on other developers, which I get that to an extent, but they didn't change anything else. So the problem is that you have like this story that talks about how there's hardly anyone left, human being wise, and you're trying to kill all these robots, which are the arcs. Meanwhile, in the game, like, you have all these people just trying to murder each other. And then you have this overseer lady who's like watching via cam, you know, the extraction points. And the extraction points are where a lot of people are killed by other raiders. And, you know, in the beginning of the game, she shows that you come into town and she doesn't know who the hell you are, and she's like super defensive, and she's basically telling you not to like try anything funny. And then in game, it's just like she's witnessing like people and, you know, her clan that's like they're just killing each other, and they're right there at the extraction site on camera. And apparently that's okay. And then they didn't change the gameplay with the arcs. And the problem is that you have some massive arcs that genuinely require like essentially at least half the map to join in. And fight together. But inevitably, what'll end up happening is that some asshole will just like shoot you from behind or snipe you while you're focusing on this thing. Even happens with smaller orcs like leapers and shit. You'll be focusing on it with your friend, and as soon as you kill it, you'll often have a third party situation where people will try to come in and wreck your shit. Very frustrating. But on the whole, it's been fun. I do respect them for introducing a system that can be pushed along with after match surveys. So we rate, our match or every single thing, and it kind of helps us along that way. But it does it apparently automatically just by watching your gameplay. So it'll notice, oh, do they like PvP? Are they going away from that and just fighting arcs? Are they just looting? And they'll try to put you with like players. So it's not so bad. If you watch people who are like super fucking thirsty, their gameplay loop experience is like way different than ours. But I mean, you'll still encounter them, and inevitably, there's a problem with that sometimes where you'll get so used to being matched up with friendly raiders that sometimes you'll just, whoa, lots of crashes there. Lots of times you'll just come across like a really just bad egg, PvP sort of team, and they'll just shoot you as the first time they see you, and you're not real. I mean, you're on guard. Don't get me wrong. You're always on guard in that game, but like you're so used to giving people the benefit of the doubt that it kind of screws you over. And it's not a game like Fortnite, for example, where when you get shot, you really have like some time to recover and you have mobility so you can get out of the situation and kind of reestablish yourself and reposition yourself. It's very much a game of, essentially speaking, not always, but like 90% of the time, whoever shoots first wins. Especially if they have the jump on you, and it takes you obviously like 2 or 3 seconds to, to fully react and get your gun out and aim. So that part kind of blows. I wish there were at least, I don't mind if they keep the gameplay loop the same, but I do kind of wish they would have like PvE events. Oh my god. So maybe there's like, an arc where it has to be taken down for the safety and sanctity of the raider group. And so it forces you to essentially be in almost like as if everyone's on the same team, because you can't kill your own teammates. So if you go out and play duos, I don't know why I'm playing this. What happens when I talk? Like if you play duos or trios or quads, you can't kill your own teammates. So I kind of wish it was like that for just some events, so it at least felt like there was something on the line. Because the way that the gameplay feels, it doesn't really feel like the arcs are a huge threat. Because it never feels like you're forced to be collaborative with other raiders, unless you just have like a moral compass or you just like playing that way, right? I do know that the developers were not around for the Christmas break, so I'm kind of hoping that, they'll be back soon, if not back already, and maybe they can start doing something about that. That'd be nice. But yeah, I have a bunch of 'cause PlayStation's the next console. Saturn's done as far as uploads to the Polymega. So I have a bunch of PlayStation games that are currently not on my M.2 drive. And I'm going to go ahead and start the very slow process of putting them on the drive. In case you don't know, there's no ROM dumping. So I have to burn CDRWs over and over and over again and do one disc at a time. And of course, if the game is like Final Fantasy and there's multiple discs, then you have to do multiple discs. Forgot about that S turn there. I would say, if I had to be brutally honest with you, that's probably like the worst part about the Polymega. I really do wish that they kind of did an analog thing where, quote unquote, they didn't put the feature on there, but quote unquote, somebody days later puts out a hack for it. Somebody. Who could it be? Because ultimately, I mean, it's not like we have a storefront. I know that's coming, so I get why they're doing what they're doing. Because if they show that the system is hacked and open, they'll never be able to have a storefront. But, I mean, we're fucking what now? I don't even know how many years we are at this point. It feels like we're in, what, 6 years? It feels like. It was pre-COVID. So it's got to be at least 6 years. So it's like we're all these years in, we still don't have a digital storefront. We still don't have online, which this thing was supposed to have online multiplayer. So you're supposed to play like all your old games with your buddies, and that's like clearly not a thing. I know the app is coming sometime early this year. And I'm hoping that with the app, some of that stuff comes along as well. But, I mean, I'm not holding my breath. I was considering getting the light gun. Something about Polymega you have to know is that whether you want something or not, unless you genuinely don't feel like you'll ever use it, like for me, that would be the Atari module. You better buy it when it's in stock, because you really just never know when you're ever going to see it again. Whether it's a module or a console especially, or an accessory, like the light gun. Because they order things in batches. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it would be really cool for like House of the Dead and like Virtual Cop 1 and 2 and things like that. Maybe some Time Crisis. But I mean, you're talking about like a peripheral that definitely has diminishing returns, if you know what I mean. I mean, there's really not much you're going to be able to do with it, number one. And number two, I didn't like the Sinden light gun very much myself, because it was essentially like a glorified giant mouse. So you're not looking down the sights per se. You're just moving the gun around, and it knows the position of the gun, and that's where you aim. And the problem with that is that you end up having to aim essentially by adjusting your shots by looking at where the spray is on screen, which is like really, really disorienting. Hey, Tuna. Hey, Di. I was just talking about you in the beginning of the stream. I saw you post on Discord, so I wasn't sure if you'd make it. So, thanks for joining. I figured it's early in the morning for you. You're probably getting ready for work. So, much like how you help me start my weekends, maybe I can help you start your workday. Because it is very early in the morning for me right now. I took some naps because I've been exhausted with work, and now I'm just like kind of wired and up. Go figure. Oh crap. That's what happens when I look at chat. Ah. But yeah, I was talking about the light gun for the Polymega. My friend Jake has the gun, and he's done just only very, very brief tests with it. And he keeps swearing to me that he's going to try it out in earnest soon, because I want to know before that thing becomes out of stock if I should buy it or not. Just logging into work. Cool. Can you do you listen to YouTube videos while you work? Is that, I don't know what you do for work, frankly. I don't think I've ever heard. If so, I'll keep you company, at least for a little bit. Yeah, the Sinden light gun is terrible. Yeah, I fucking hate it, man. So I know that this thing uses that technology. That being said, it'd be very... Oh my god, this is what happens when I... Stop looking at chat! No, but I know that it uses that technology, but to be fair, I also know that the Polymega team made it their own. So I'm hoping that translates to them doing it better. But, I mean, roughly speaking, it's the same technology. You have that white border on the screen. And it kind of tracks where the gun's aiming by focusing on that white border, and then transmits that information to the console. Now, I'll say this about that. Even if the aiming is still that weird kind of, it's a giant mouse and not really like looking down the sights and aiming sort of like an experience, which would be not great. Especially for games like Duck Hunt, where you can't really like spray and pray. You have to have accurate shots. It still would be nice to have a Sinden-like experience that was plug and play and it just worked, which I know for the fact of that brief moment where he tested it working from home. So yeah. Oh, nice. Cool. I didn't know you were an IT tech. Very cool. But yeah, like getting a Sinden light gun to work is just torture, man. I wonder if this would help if I'm gonna see what happens with that. Does making it full screen actually help? Because I don't remember having those borders before. Oh yeah. Okay, cool. They went away. There you go. I'm learning. Slowly but surely. But yeah. It'd be nice to just have something that plugged and played and worked. I'm kind of willing to deal with not having a one-to-one light gun replacement if it's at least not nearly as complicated getting the, drivers and the system to talk to me. Because that was my biggest problem outside of the usability of the gun itself, was just getting it to register with the emulators and such that I was using. It just didn't want to talk to anything, dude. And then even if it was recognized, it just wouldn't act like, like a light gun. Like a lot of times the D-pad and the buttons on it would register, but there would be no aiming. So you're sitting there trying to like do all sorts of things, like trying to get it to register like as a mouse, or sometimes there's light gun settings within emulators, and it just would not talk. Sinden is a light nightmare to use most of the time. It just don't work, and the software to run the gun is terrible. Yeah, that's literally my experience too. I went full ham on it too, man. Like, I don't know about you, but like, I had that plugged into my Nook PC that was inside my Vuelix, and I had like a custom 3D printed Sinden light gun holster, and I had that mounted on the back of the Vuelix, so you couldn't see it from the front, but it'd be akin to like, light gun arcade machine where it had like a, like a light gun holder. Same idea. I even did it in white so that it matched the my black and white Vuelix. Like, I was ready, man. I was super stoked to have all that. And why did my phone just fucking restart? What the hell is going on? Or did it die? Pardon me. I'm having technical difficulties. What the hell is happening? I look down and there's a giant like Motorola logo. Okay. Seems unresponsive right now, so we'll just see. I'm assuming there was like an automatic update, but that's just weird. Usually it asks for your permission before just fucking yeeting you outside of the operating system. Who the fuck knows? Fun times. I hate modern technology. I love it in the sense that I want like new computer parts and that type of stuff when money allows, but oh my god, is it annoying sometimes. Like right now, yeah, it fucking restarted. That's so weird. It must have done a software update. It had to have. I love how I'm racing a motorcycle on the beach, by the way, while like futzing with my phone. I don't think this is what the developers had in mind. But no, like I'll give you an example. So like my monitor is an OLED monitor from LG, and Windows HDR looks like absolute dog shit on this. And it's not like your the old school HDR issues where everything looked gray or whatever, like it was like a genuine problem, but everything just like becomes super washed out and just terrible. And obviously I've run HDR for many years. But what's odd is that the monitor in normal mode with HDR turned off looks like HDR. So the blacks get super black, the highlights pop out and get really bright. So I just run without HDR. I do blame Windows HDR. I think that's probably the problem. And I've tried calibrating everything. It doesn't fucking help. So I just kind of, you know, gave up. But yeah, I'm hoping Playmoji did what they do best, which is software. And fixed the Sinden software situation. Because the hardware is probably on point. Hmm. Yeah, that's very weird. Apparently I have RAM boost functionality now, so yeah, it definitely looks like a software update. I have no idea what the hell RAM boost means, but whatever. I should probably get going here soon. Sleep is a mystery to me. I'm trying to just finish this up this cup. Oh, well. I'm also looking for $1 billion. God? Anybody? $1 billion? No? Alright. Alright. We unlock the reverse mode. That's cool. Oh. Windows HDR handling is still broken. It fails on the handshake a lot and turn HDR off and on when you swap application. Yeah, so my biggest deal is, and again, this is just this monitor and this PC, right? But HDR on this monitor, on the monitor that I had before this, that I returned because it had problems, no problems. And it was the same PC. So I know it's not the computer. But that handshake, like you were saying, is a problem between these devices because with this monitor, both in-game and on desktop, HDR looks shit. Like blacks become like battleship gray. All the colors just look super washed out. It's not a great experience. Wouldn't recommend it. All right. Kind of feel like we need to do something here to wrap it up. I don't really have the games that I really truly love on here yet. Especially not ones I can play in just a few minutes. Let's just go back. It's not like super sacrilege to play Super Nintendo with the PlayStation controller, is it? I feel like they're closely enough related. It shouldn't be a big deal. What module do I have plugged in? I actually have the Super Nintendo module plugged in, but I'm, again, crushed for time. So, I'm going to be lazy. I'm not sure if the triggers are L1 and R1 or R2. Okay, so it's L1 and R1. That sucks. I wish it was the rear triggers, but whatever. I'll be honest with you, this kind of doesn't feel too bad. I mean, obviously a PlayStation 1 controller is just a fucking Super Nintendo controller with 2 extra triggers and a fucking handle situation, but still. That is one kind of nice thing about this system is that you can have like a quote-unquote favorite controller of yours and use it basically wherever you want. The downside is, and this is just one of those like quality of life things, right, that Playmaji hasn't ironed out. One of the many things that they promised us that's still not implemented yet is button remapping. So if it ain't perfect out of the box, you're basically screwed. But all in all, at least from my experience, most of the time when I play in other consoles, controller on the console I'm playing that doesn't technically match, the button combination does make sense. So it's not a huge problem, but it still should be there Because if you have some weird, wonky, really, dude? Oh my god. If you have a really weird, wonky controller, like I don't know, like maybe you have like a flight stick or some shit, it'd be nice to be able to know that you can map it the way that you want to. But again, I'm hoping, maybe not rightfully so, I'm hoping that a lot of that shit comes with the update, with the app. But we'll have to see. If there's anything that's bad about Playmaji, they kind of go dark for long, long periods of time. So you never really know what the hell's going on. They don't talk to their community, and things kind of just drop when they drop. And they miss deadlines all the time with no explanation. But, the hardware is the hardware, and it's phenomenal. It's a lovely experience having everything in one machine. I mean, everything within reason. Obviously, it's not going to do things like Dreamcast or, PS2 or whatever, but relatively most of the consoles that we would play, with some exceptions, like Jaguar and Master System, everything's going to be on one little machine. And you can put in your real retail cartridges and discs and play what you have. Speaking of which, in case you're wondering, one of those other things they promised that's not here yet, you do not have the ability to, when you cart dump, bring in a save that was on the cart or back it up from the Polymega back to the cart. That was supposed to be there, and it's never been there. So, like, when I bought my copy of Final Fantasy III for the Super Nintendo, it had, like, a save on there already. And when I dumped it, there's nothing there. So, if I decide to sit down and play Final Fantasy III, which obviously I plan on doing, I've already technically started it. If I ever wanted to put that save back on my cart, which has a functioning battery, I can't. Now, the positive to that is that you can get carts with dead batteries for cheaper that don't save, and it doesn't affect anything because when you bring it into Polymega, it saves to the M.2 or wherever you want it to save to. System, hard drive space or whatever. And you're golden. So, kind of a double-edged sword. I do wish they would add that, but that doesn't seem to be their priority right now. The app seems to be their priority, with the light gun having been their previous priority. But on something like this, I kind of wish they would stop adding features and do those little niceties first. Because at the end of the day, man, as my buddy Jake would say all the time, no one really knows their financial situation. And if they decide to close doors, tomorrow, I want to have a console that works, as well as humanly possible, instead of just more shit thrown at it. So as much as I, respect and appreciate things like having light gun support, it'd be nice as to have basic things kind of figured out. Especially for me, my biggest pet peeve is the online multiplayer. That was one of the main things actually that sold me on this console, was the idea that I could play all these old games with my friends who are not local to me. I don't know why, but God has not blessed me with local friends pretty much my entire adult life. So that would have been super nice to have. I like having the ability to do that with original games. I know not all of these games, obviously, but I know a lot of these games in various forms have that functionality now. So whether it's Nintendo with their Nintendo Online subscription crapola, or just remasters or ports through Steam or whatever console you're playing. I know some of that has brought in, like a lot of the SNK games have been re-released with updated netcode and online play, and that's great. But my problem with that is that it's not the original games, number one. And obviously it's not going to be everything, because it's just reliant on whatever single game they've decided to bring over. And then furthermore, it's not in one spot. So I have to go to a Switch if I want to do Nintendo things. I have to go to Steam if I want, you know, SNK things. I have to go to a console if I want archive things. And so I like the idea that I can just do that all here. And let me make this point clear. I also know that that's probably not easy. But also to my point, I didn't promise it. They did. So, maybe keep your big fucking mouth shut. Seems to be a problem with developer types. Because those guys are from Sony. Originally, I believe. The same thing with like No Man's Sky. Every single time that developer would be interviewed and they'd be like, oh, does the game have this? And he'd be like, yes. No, it didn't. But he was so wanting to please people and to not say no to anything that he ended up making a bunch of promises that he initially couldn't keep. And I mean, I'll give him props now because, like, at least he righted the ship, which is great. But man, that game for the first like year and a half, man, that game suffered. And I see the same. Move out of my fucking way, dude. And I see the same thing happening with Playmagia. On paper, this console should have been a massive runaway hit. And between supply problems and broken promises and bad communication, especially when it came to social media and how they talk to people. And then that's not even getting into some of the hardware, not hardware. Well, yeah, hardware issues with the controllers, for example. And the software crap that they had where certain updates would break things, like when they brought in N64 functionality, it broke Super Nintendo for the longest time. Like, it's been a ride, man. Them thinking that they would be able to sell consoles to Walmart in one fell swoop and just get the money instead of having to wait for the units to be sold was also hysterical. Like, you can tell that these guys, like, are programmers and they've never run a business, let's just put it that way. And as I've mentioned before in this channel, they're incredibly shy when it comes to taking out any kind of form of debt, which, I'm sorry, but in a company you just kind of need to do. So that's the reason why their consoles are never in stock, because they wait until they make enough money in order to have enough money to pay for another order of hardware. And that's why whenever you see something launch, like the light gun, for example. Oh my god, dude, concentrate. Oh my god. Holy crap, I'm getting murdered. You'll notice all of a sudden magically, like other modules or even consoles are like suddenly in stock. Okay, well, it's because every single time they place an order to China, they order a bunch of other crap. Because it's part of the same order. They have the money to do so. So, oh, dude, I can't control this fucking car. Yeah. I am definitely feeling some modicum of... Oh my god. I might just die here. This is embarrassing. I can't hit that pad for the life of me either. Oh my god. You know what? Fuck it. I just start over. And then I'm out. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, that's the reason why, like, all of a sudden things will be in stock. So it'll be like these giant, like, swaths of time where nothing's happening. Holy crap, dude. Dude, honestly, it feels like input delay all of a sudden. I don't know what the hell's going on. It feels really gross. So I don't know if my PC's like doing things, but kind of wishing I was playing directly through HDMI right now. I won't lie. It feels super bad. I'm trying to just get through this because this is the end of the cup. And it doesn't help that F-Zero's fucking gay-ass AI always wants to just rape you. Oh my god. Dude, what the fucking hell, man? This is not a hard race. Get out of my fucking way. Wow, this is just lovely. Yeah, let me switch to HDMI. This is like really bad, dude. I don't know what the hell's happening. Okay, that feels a lot better, dude. That's so weird. Still combating gay AI. Oh my god, dude. At least I can control my car, but still. I say as I ram into the fucking wall. Wow. Holy crap. Alright, well that's fucking over. I need to go to bed. Alright. Hopefully you guys had fun. It is 2:07 in the morning on a weekday. Time to go. But hopefully you can hear things better. Hopefully everything's set up now. Relatively okay. I appreciate you joining me. Die. Hopefully your workday goes well. I'll be joining you in the work shenanigans here in about, 6 hours. Alright. You guys have a good night. I'll try to jump on tomorrow maybe. We'll see how things go. Kind of a big week for me, and I'll elaborate later. But, yeah, I'm just trying to get through this week, man. Because Friday's going to be a big day. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon.